Hi, Huntsville and Madison. This is Michael Case with Handgun Martial Arts of North Alabama. We train at Last Resort Guns on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 p.m. We'd love to have you join us. I'm going to talk today about weapons-mounted lights, compact weapons-mounted lights for handguns. There's really three in the industry today that are reasonable for concealed carry as far as weapons-mounted handgun lights goes. There's the Enforce APLC, the Streamlight TLR7, which is right here, and then the Surefire XC1 Bravo. So the APLC, just really quick, I've had some experience with Enforce lights. They first came out with their weapons-mounted light. Travis Haley was endorsing it for a while there. In fact, out of all the lights that they came out with, most of the combat shooters that I saw liked the Haley version the best because it was temporary on only. There was no permanent on function, no crazy switchology where you press it 4 times and it does a strobe or something like that. So you push it, it turns on, you let it off, it turns off. Nice and kiss, keep it simple, stupid. But a lot of issues with them breaking in the field. The mounting plate was breaking, the tube itself was breaking. Unfortunately, super lightweight light, but just not durable enough. So a lot of those guys, after getting them and running them through their paces, started going away from them. And I've heard, though I haven't personally used the Enforce APLC, I've heard similar stories about that one having a lot of issues. I talked to some of my buddies, former Spec Ops guys that I worked with and deployed with overseas, and they told me about some issues that they were having with them, so I just decided to steer clear of it. I'd probably recommend the same for you. What that kind of comes down to is the Streamlight TLR7, and then that Surefire XC1 Bravo. So let's talk about the Streamlight TLR7. So first of all, I really like this light a lot. There's a lot of great things about it. And then one thing that for me was a complete deal breaker. So its size is great. It's real thin. It's relatively lightweight. It runs off of a 123 battery, lithium battery. I've got a lot of those in the house for some of my other flashlights, so, fairly common for me. Really great beam. The throw of this beam is just excellent, really bright, really reaches out there, just a really well-designed throw. What's not so great about this is the switchology. Now, the switchology of these lights, it's the number one thing that the shooter's going to interface with the light. So if everything else is excellent and it's got bad switchology, it's pretty much worthless in my book, unfortunately, especially if there's other options out there. And so I'll just show you really quick with this light, but why it's a deal breaker for me. So I bought it, I tried it out, and I camp my support hand fairly far forward when I'm shooting. So as I come out to full extension, or my full extension, this wrist is basically at full lockout. In order to push this switch on this, I can't get to that switch from here. So the only way that I can do it with my hands is I literally have to break my grip and push my support hand forward to get this button and turn it on. And if you can see, there's a huge gap now between my strong hand and my support hand. So I'm really compromising my grip, and I could feel that when I was shooting the weapon and using this light at the same time. Kind of the benefit of a weapons-mounted light is that you're not compromising your grip when you're shooting the gun. If you're seriously compromising the grip, why not just go to a handheld light? A handheld light has a heck of a lot more utility than a weapons-mounted light does. If the grip isn't that much better, maybe go towards that. So for me, I played around with that for a while, and that was a deal breaker. Kind of something to add to that is for wounded fire techniques. So, say that I get shot in my support hand, or I'm grabbing my wife and I'm getting her behind me because it's a bad situation and I have to make a shot. In that particular scenario, I want to turn this light on permanently. I don't want it to be intermittent. And the button allows you to do that. I would use my trigger finger at this point, but I can't even reach the button with my trigger finger. So the way that I was having to do this in these while I was shooting it was I'd have to break my grip, rotate the gun, push the light to turn it on, re-grip the pistol with a good firing grip, then extend it out and shoot it. And then when I wanted to turn the light off, I'd have to do that same thing over again to turn off the light and re-grip the pistol. So I guess better than nothing, but you know, not the best switchology. Very disappointing and really a deal breaker for me, because I know that there's other platforms out there that perform a lot better as far as switchology goes. Specifically, the Surefire XC1 Bravo. So I'll unmount this from my gun and mount the Surefire, and I can show you what I'm talking about. But so with the Surefire XC1 Bravo, in order to actuate the light, it's got a rocker switch. It's very similar to the TLR1 or the Streamlight X300. I'm just going to take my thumb and I'm going to push the button down. I know the 300 is a little bit different, but it's a rocker switch style thing. I'm not pushing to the side like I would be on the TLR7. So I'm going to push this down, and what you'll see is, tighten this just a little bit more, that when I extend out fully, I can actuate that button very easily with a really good two-handed grip. Furthermore, if I'm in a wounded fire situation and I've only got this one hand, I can actuate the button with my trigger finger, turn the light on full time, and then shoot the threat as needed, turn the light back off, and get out of there. So just from a switchology perspective, it's a much more usable platform, and it's what I'm going to go with, because unfortunately the TLR7 switchology is just terrible for me. Now I will say, if you've got fairly large hands, I mean probably larger than normal hands, and you shoot you know, a very support hand, thumb forward grip, the TLR7 may work for you. And so I played around with it a little bit to see how could I tell you all on the internet what that grip would be, so that you could tell if it would work for you or not. And so what I found was that if my grip was, my hands were so large that my thumb rested far forward, so my thumb rests just forward of the takedown lever, but if my thumb was resting forward of the step down in the frame of the Glock, so right about there, then it was very easy for me to bring my thumb down and actuate this light. But if my thumb is resting here, I'm having a lot of trouble. I can't even turn it on from there. So my thumb needs to be beyond this step. And if you've got, you know, if you're 6'6" and you've got really large hands, this light might work great for you. But I'm 5'6". I got fairly small hands, but I've also got several buddies I've talked to that are more in the range of, you know, anywhere from 6 to 5'8", and they also had similar issues that I did as far as reaching that button and actuating the light to shoot. So if you've got large hands and it fits into what I was explaining with the step down on the frame, then you know what? The TLR7 may be the flashlight for you. If you've got normal size or small hands like I do, I would definitely steer clear of it, and I would go with the Surefire XC1 Bravo, which is just overall a really good compact concealed carry weapons mounted light. So hopefully this video answers some questions for you about which light is the best for you for concealed carry. And this is Michael Case from Handgun Martial Arts in North Alabama signing off.